It is absolutely no secret that automotive debt is getting out of control. As cars have gotten more expensive and as consumers have been spread more and more thin, monthly payments have gotten out of hand. And as a result, people are slowly but surely falling behind on their car loans. Well, just this week, Experian released their quarterly report breaking down the current state of the car market and the debt associated with it. This is for Q3 of 2024 and is the most up-to-date Experian data that we have because, as I mentioned, it was just released this week. And so let's dig into it. Now, a link to this report will be found down in the description below, and so if you want to check it out for yourself, that's where you can do that. This graph right here is a breakdown of the shares of financing arms, like whether people did captive financing, banks, credit unions, whatever, across the entire car market. So this includes both new and used cars as well as loans and leases. And you can see here that in the last year, credit union usage has decreased, finance companies have increased, while many of the others are kind of relatively flat. But if we take away leases, you can see that banks by far are the largest financing provider. And while captive financing has increased in shares, it is still below credit unions. You can see here that the average score of the average car buyer has also increased for both used and new car buyers. And you can see this breakdown for the car market as a whole, which again includes loans, leases, new and used, that the majority of car buyers in this current market are good credit score buyers. Subprime borrowers have decreased, as have deep subprime and even near prime. In fact, even the market share of prime borrowers have decreased, which means that the only segment of buyer that has actually increased in market share is super prime borrowers, so people who have extremely good credit scores, which again makes a ton of sense in this market and is by no means a surprise at all because of the fact that as interest rates have gotten higher, it is simply more expensive to buy a car, and so in order to be able to afford a car, you really do need to have a pretty good credit score. Now, all of this data was a reflection of the car market as a whole, so new, used, loans, and leases, but let's take a look at new cars specifically. You can see here that captive financing by far is the primary loan provider for new cars with over 48% of market share. Now, obviously, what route you would go down for your own financing would depend on a number of factors, including what types of banks you have relationships with, your credit score, the type of car you're buying, and you should absolutely shop deals whenever you are looking to buy a car. And you can see that when it comes to new cars, the vast majority of new car buyers are good credit score borrowers. In fact, across near prime, subprime, and deep subprime borrowers, they make up only about 15% of the total market share of new car buyers, and prime and super prime make up the rest. As I mentioned earlier, this is absolutely because of the fact that it is very expensive to borrow money for a car, even though interest rates are going down. And so in order to justify a new car purchase, which is in and of itself a very expensive purchase, you really do have to have a high credit score in order for this to make sense. Now, this slide here is full of a little bit of mixed results. The good news is that the average interest rate for a new car has fallen. It decreased from 7.09% in 2023 to 6.61% in 2024. This is still higher than what we saw in 2022, but is progress nonetheless. But you can also see that the average amount financed for a new car has increased, increasing from $40,332 in 2023 to $41,068 in 2024. Not only has the amount that we financed increased, but so has our monthly payments as well. It's only an increase of $5, but it is an increase, while the average loan term has actually decreased slightly with an average term of 68.27 months back in 2023 to an average term of 68.17 months here in 2024. So all in all, we saw that the average amount financed has increased by $736 or about 1.83%. Now, what this data from Experian is telling us is that even though car prices are beginning to settle and the car market is returning to normal, car prices are still far too high and we are spending more money than ever on our vehicles, which means that protecting your vehicle is more important than ever, which is why I would like to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of this video. It's no secret that cars have gotten extremely expensive. And as the cost of ownership for a vehicle has risen, it has become more important than ever for you to protect your investment. And one of the best ways to do this is a dash cam, which is why I am thrilled to partner with Wolfblocks and their X5 dash cam. The X5 dash cam is the perfect dash cam for you, and it features interior, rear, and front cameras. The rear camera can help you back up in tight spaces, and the front camera can help protect you in the case of an accident, if your car is vandalized, or if there's a dispute with another driver. It's never been more important to have coverage, and the X5 dash cam makes it easier than ever to protect yourself. The X5 is easy to install, features high-definition recording, night mode. Now, as many of you know, I live in Dallas, and Dallas has some of the worst drivers in the entire country. So knowing that no matter what happens on the road, I have a recording of it, it feels good. With its night mode, easy installation, and triple camera features, the X5 dashcam is the perfect addition to any vehicle. To check out the Wolfbox X5 dashcam for yourself, you can click on the link down in the description below. Now, one of the more mind-boggling statistics out of the car market currently is the distribution of consumers that are paying over $1,000 for their car. And according to Experian, 13% of consumers are paying over $1,000 per month for their new car loan between loans and leases. But if we segment only loans out into this equation, it comes out to over 16.5% of consumers are paying over $1,000 per month. That is a really scary statistic. $1,000 is a significant amount of money, and for this monthly payment to make up such a significant portion of consumers' loan payments, it is not a good sign. Now, moving on to used vehicle financing, credit unions reign supreme whenever it comes to used vehicles, with banks trailing very, very close behind them. You can see that the distribution amongst borrowers for used cars is a lot more spread out than with new cars, with the largest percentage of borrowers coming from the prime territory, which means that they have good credit scores, but they don't have perfect credit scores. But there is still a big chunk of near prime, subprime, and deep subprime borrowers, even if some of these categories have decreased year over year. Unlike new cars, the good news out of the used car market is that pretty much every single metric has decreased year over year. The amount financed has decreased from $27,286 to $26,091, which equates to a decrease of $1,195 or a whopping 4.38%, which is significant. Obviously, you can see that we still really aren't where we need to be because back in 2021, we had a whopping 21% increase of average loan amount, and the year followed, we had 9% increase. But the fact that we have now seen 2 years of nearly 5% decreases, that's a positive sign. Not only has the average loan amount decreased, but so has the average monthly payment, falling from $538 to $520. The average used loan rate has decreased to 11.74%, but don't get it twisted, this is still an extremely high interest rate, and I do not recommend that anybody finance a car at that rate, and the average loan term has also decreased. And unlike new cars, which an extraordinarily high amount are over $1,000, 34% of all used car loans are under $400, which is below the average amount for a car payment, which is great news. And loan amounts as well as monthly payment have decreased for every single credit score borrower across the used car market. But the average interest rate for used vehicles is still very, very high, with the average rate for super prime borrowers sitting at 7.41%, and deep subprime borrowers are paying on average 21.55% for their used cars, which is absolutely horrendous. It feels like it should be illegal, and I think it goes without saying that if you are someone who's looking to buy a used car and the rate that you're approved for is 21.5%, you should absolutely not buy that car. That is credit card level interest. So new car loans are increasing, used car loans are decreasing, but despite this, the amount of outstanding debt in the car market has increased year over year by 1.1%, with 30-day past due balances increasing as well as 60-day past due balances increasing. Delinquent vehicles predominantly are used cars and they are purchased from independent dealerships. And if we look at delinquency statuses, you can see that we kind of are officially at pre-pandemic levels. In fact, almost exactly. In Q3 of 2018, the average 30-day delinquency rate was 3.09%, and that is what we are at today in Q3 of 2024. And if we look at 60 days past due, we've actually passed pre-pandemic levels and have been for quite a while, because in 2018 and in 2019, the 60-day delinquency rate was 0.79%, and currently we are at 0.96%. This is definitely not a good sign, and while there are aspects of the car market that are absolutely improving, there are other signs here that I think are really big red flags. The fact that more and more people are paying for over $1,000 per month for their car payment, the fact that new car loans are not going down, in fact, they're going up, despite the fact that we have officially arrived at pre-pandemic levels as far as inventory goes, and the fact that we have officially surpassed pre-pandemic levels for both 60 and 30-day past due delinquency rates, this isn't good. All the while, there really are no signs pointing in the direction that new vehicles are going to go down dramatically in price. I've been saying this for quite a while now, but I unfortunately think that the average new car price of about $48,000 to $50,000, I think that price point is probably here to stay. Unless we have a major recession that really shakes everybody and flops them on their head, I just don't see really any of these factors as far as price point for new cars going down. And as a result, this is going to an extent also keep used car prices up as well. And this is in in turn going to keep extending people too far with their car debt. It's going to increase the total amount that people owe, and as a result, these delinquency rates will continue to go up as well. I will say that I think it could be worse, and I'm not going to say that the sky is falling, but I definitely think that these are numbers to keep an eye on, and I definitely don't think that this is good. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.